Let's now bring the conversation back into the studio as we invite Mr. Jide Johnson to, of course, react to the conversation. Now, let's tie what's happening on the plateau to the speech by the president this morning. Of course, he did talk about insecurity, talking about restoring security within Nigeria's borders, saying that they've worked really hard to free a number of abductors, captives from the abductors, and that they will keep doing all that they can. If we look at the current budget, defense and security has the highest allocation on the budget. What would you say we need to do differently? What would you say? You know, they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And having allocation, budget and security has always had high allocations. So is that something we should sustain, or is there a way that we need to do things differently from your perspective?
Hold people accountable. Just like we are evaluating the ministers, we should evaluate the police commissioner. We should evaluate the security chiefs. We should evaluate the director of DSS of the state, wherever you have infraction. We should evaluate the commandant of the NDDC. All those that we have given responsibility to, we should hold them accountable. You know, it's only in Nigeria that the service chiefs will remain in office despite the grievous security challenges that we have. And then if you can't secure your border, if you can't protect life and property, there's no basis for government. I recall what the president said with respect to investment in the agriculture. You need food security. Now, if you can, it is when you are self-sufficient that you become less dependent on the export, which strengthen your own currency in competing arguably with other currency. And it's because we are not being self-sufficient, and that's why. So security is critical to having that. The 500 million acres of land that President said we are going to invest in, plant millets, plant all of these. If people can't go to farm, why do you think that the cost of living is very, very high? It's because of the series of security challenges we have had. Farmers can't go to farm. You heard what Alije said, who is an investor in the production sector, particularly the rice value chain, the end product processing and whatever. He said, if you don't get the paddy, how do you produce the rice? Hence, the cost of rice will increase. So, the president, there are two critical areas. Solve the security problem, solve the energy problem. And I tell you, the industry of Nigeria will vitalize this economy. All you need to do is to take a trip outside of this country and see how industrious Nigerians are, making other economy to tick. Just take Nigerians out of the economy of Great Britain. See what will happen to that economy. Look at the other side of Japan when people talk about, take Nigerian, I can say this for a fact, take Nigerians out of the economy of Atlanta, which is the capital of the state of Georgia, or take the economy of Nigeria out of Houston, which is the second major city in Texas, and see what will happen to that particular economy. Nigerians are industrious, they are workaholic. What they require is the enabling environment. And the president himself has said it. For us, the chief of staff, the chief of army staff, all of those service chiefs and all those you have given responsibility to should be held accountable. It's either you perform or you are excused from government. And he said it, no more excuse. And I think what we are going to do in 2024 is probably to have that campaign, no more excuses.
I agree to that. I think we should buy into that with the hashtag
no more excuse. That's what the president
having T-shirts and all that.
Yeah, no more excuse.
All that printed. I want to say thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Taking time out to join us to analyze the presidential speech. Thank you so much, Sir Jide Johnson.
It is a pleasure to start the year with wonderful people and our viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day and a wonderful year ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so the conversations continue. We've pinpointed some of the very key areas from the presidential speech, from insecurity to hashtag no more excuses.
I think the one thing that has stood out, I mean, this is the first day of the year and it's important that we spread hope. It's the fact that the president has spoken in a manner that doesn't act like he's oblivious of the sufferings of Nigerians. The one thing that people who are suffering or going through a hard time expect is empathy. They want you to empathize with them and feel like, I can understand. Maybe not 100%, but I'm not unaware and I'm not going to ignore or act like you're not going through a rough time. So I thought that that was very important body language that was exemplified, and that must be applauded. And we're hoping that that body language is carried on throughout this administration. The president has addressed Nigerians a lot more than the outgoing or the former administration did. So he's been a lot more, a much better communicator. But Nigerians would love to see more actions, encourage that this administration keeps putting its best foot forward to prioritize the needs and the welfare of Nigerians.